sunshine, so I just plunge blind. Splash guys with soul spots, pain graces one mind.
This is the Maeve.
Hilarity.
Yes, this is. You tell it. Oh man. Well, let me tell a little bit of it, and then you tell it. Okay.
Go ahead.
So I heard a very specific voice. So I have no musical training, right? Like I don't even know the difference between a note, a chord, a key, or any of that stuff, right? Nothing. And so, but I could hear it in my head, and I heard this voice that I would later learn. Should ask for a voice that has character. That's the way you described the voice I heard in my head, was character. But I didn't know how to say that, so I came out with like a cross between Axl Rose, Old Dirty Bastard, and Louis Armstrong. I was like, that's the voice I want.
The funniest shit ever. Like sitting in your lab and you're like, hey, Tay, check your email. I sent you something. I want to see if you can finesse this or whatever. I'm like, cool. Open up my Gmail. Listen, like. Fuck. Like, what do you want me to do with this again? Okay, like, I don't know, man. You know, so we got to the lab, and I think it was me, you, Pro, and Xavier. They stopped through. My man he was here, and I just remember like trying to make sense of what he was putting forward. I'm like, this ain't gonna work, so let me put my spin on it. So eventually, on the previous version, I had did the hook on it, but we found somebody with a little more character. Mine was too smooth and it was too beautiful. So they cut mine, which is good, which is cool. But initially, to backtrack a little bit, I met Kev at the hub. We met at the hub or whatever. And that night, I remember this night actually because Max Patah was MCing that night. That's how I remember it. And so shout out to Max Patah, the spirit of Max Patah. You was there because remember that? Yeah. So we were all Jason the Hater always makes it a point, which is I think is good for the culture, good for the city culture, that he always makes sure that we know one another, who each other is. So he was like, announce yourself. I got my man. He make beats. Blah 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 blah. And so Kevin like, oh, you make beats? I'm like, yeah, I do. I do a little something. So I like, yo, if you want to check me out at my little site or whatever. So fast forward, he comes to the crib. We go through beats and like, if you come to my crib and I let you hear beats, I'm gonna keep you all night if I can, cause I want you to hear everything I got almost. And so Kev like, I got to get back down to Helena because it's getting dark, ain't no street lights. So we came across. I went through probably, I want to say about at least 20 to probably more than that, 30 or so beats. And he was like, "What's that?" And I'm like, "That's something I recently made. I ain't gonna let that go or whatever." Long story short, he saw it. Long story short, he saw it. I put it on my SoundCloud page, and he was like, "Yo, I need that." So fast forward to now, to when he sent me that hook, and I was like,
"You regretted selling me that beat, huh?"
That shit is not gonna work. But when we got in, and we actually, ironed out all the wrinkles that was in the initial way he wanted to sing it. It sounded real good. And this version here sounds very good also. So the beat itself, when I was making the beat, it always starts off with the idea of a feel. If I feel a certain way about the sample, I'll take that next step and find the drums for it and try to make sure that the drums that I select for it fit the actual sample. So once I married the two.
Oh man, I can sing on your ringtone for you, Tay, if you like, man. I can do something.
I'm good.
You sure, man? Just showing you some love, man.
I'm good, B. I'm good.
Okay, all right.
But
offer stance.
No. I'm, once I finish the beat up and I say, he likes it or whatever, we make it happen. And I'm just glad that he had the opportunity, or he can see how I work and how I pretty much, put things together. Because I think I was working on beats while he was there too. But very appreciative that he chose these and he was able to convey the message that he wanted to convey through them. So, he blessed me by even selecting the joint. So that's I'm bigging him up on that one because he did me some justice on him. So
man. Well, thank you. Thank you, Tay. And the last little bit there, so that night we were recording, we went through, and Pro actually came through the lab to see if his voice would work, if we could get Pro's voice to work on the hook. Definitely didn't. We went out of there. I was so upset. I was like, man, nothing happened. Tay's too pretty. Like, I need someone who sings dirty enough. And none of us knew anybody. And none of us knew anybody who sang dirty. And so I was just frustrated.
We thought we had Valerie June.
Yeah, that was yeah. Val could have sung. Val could have sung.
No, Kev met Valerie June at a show the week after that, or a couple days after that. So he was like, man, you know what? Man, I think I might have just, man, I cross your fingers, I might have Valerie June. I'm like, man, Valerie June is like, she on some next level shit like that. But if I can get her, Kev can get her. She didn't make it. She didn't come through. She didn't come through. So I think Neen hit me up, or Kev hit me up, and they said they had somebody from out of town that Kevin knew, and that he was gonna you know, replace my vocals because they were just too pretty or whatever. It was. And so you know, I cried a little bit about it, but you know, counseling is a wonderful thing. So,
he's worked through it. He's forgiven it.
I'm forgiven. He's forgiven.
This is part of the culmination of that process. Exactly. He's graduating his therapy.
One day at a time.
Yeah, reconciliation.
One day at a time.
But actually, so I had no idea what I was gonna do. That sat for like 3 months, 4 months. Didn't know who I could meet. Every time I would meet somebody that sang, I would ask them to sing for me and see if they could do something gravelly. Nobody could. My stepdad flew out here to spend some time and help me move back from the backwaters of Helena into, I shouldn't say that, I liked Helena, I'm gonna get in trouble for that, from the back, move from Helena, the great city of Helena, Arkansas, back to Memphis. He helped me.
And Helena's not even a city.
Nah, it's a town.
It's like a truck stop.
A once thriving town. But he's a blues man. He's a blues man. He loves the blues. And so I asked him, I said, Eddie, man, sing a little bit for me. And that was it. And it was just perfect solution. I had no idea what I was going to do. Eddie flew out. We came through. He hit the lab. He didn't want to practice much beforehand. He was just like, no, I'll just go with it. It'll just be kind of raw that way. So we came through. We did it. Eddie laced it. And we're done. And we found essentially exactly what I wanted, though I didn't know it at the start. Yeah, so it all worked out.